today I'm going to do a cursive handwriting lesson. Cursive writing is something that takes place in grade 3. It is part of the CAPS curriculum. Our children have had a full first term of cursive handwriting, and we're moving through all the letters of the alphabet now as revision, because by the third term the children will be writing in cursive full time. They're still writing in lead pencil, which is very important. They will move into pen in the fourth term. I'm going to do the cursive letter H today. And what works for me is that I have settled the class down. Handwriting is always done first thing in the morning, and it takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Everybody has settled down. I don't allow anybody to walk around during a handwriting lesson because movement is distracting for the others, and I need their focus to be on me and on the board in the front of the classroom. So everybody has settled down in their seats. They already have sharpened their lead pencils. They have their rulers, erasers, and lead pencils ready on their tables. Their books have been handed out, and we also have checked that their posture is correct. So I make sure that they're sitting properly in their chair with their feet firmly on the floor, and that their bottoms are pushed to the back of their chairs and their chairs are pulled forward. So now I'm going to go into the handwriting lesson. So what I do first with the children is I write the date on the board, and we underline the date, and then we write the day for that handwriting lesson. I always remind them to underline their date and make sure that they have written the correct date. And with the capital F for Friday, make sure they've crossed the F, otherwise it's a capital T. I wait for everybody to do that, and then I tell everybody to put their pencils down so I can start with the first letter. I always start with the capital letter first, so I'm going to start with the capital letter H, and as I'm writing it on the board, I talk them through it. So I say that capital H goes up and down, and you lift your pencil, and then down and up, and you make a loop. And then we measure a finger space, and we repeat it up and down and up, and make a loop, and then we measure a finger space. And then I make sure that the children repeat the letter until the end of the line, and I walk around, and I usually have a red pen in my hand, and I correct them as they're writing the capital letter. So once I've checked that everybody has completed the capital H correctly, I come back to the board and I start on the lowercase h, and I do the same thing with them again. I talk them through from the bottom, we make a loop at the top, we go down, we make a bunny jump up and down. Up, make your loop at the top, come down, do your bunny hop over and up again. And then again I will walk around with my red pen and make sure everybody is doing the letter correctly, and they know to complete the letter until the end of the line. So once I've checked that everybody has then completed a row of the lowercase h correctly, I'm going to do a row combined the uppercase h and the lowercase h, and again I will talk them through it. Up and down and up, and we go straight into the lowercase, make your loop and up again. Up and down, and make your loop, go straight into the lowercase, and you're done. All right, at that point I make everybody put their pencils down, and we stretch our arms out, and then I make them focus on the board while I write a sentence, and the sentence will contain the letter H in it. So I'm going to write a sentence about Mother's Day, which is going to happen on Sunday. Right, then when I'm finished, we read it together. Happy Mother's Day. We hope you have a happy day. And then they can pick up their pencils and start writing. The sentences that we write for handwriting in the second term are longer than the sentences we do in the first term, in preparation for moving into cursive full time. So once everybody's finished writing the sentence, I give them the instruction to choose a color. We usually do a pattern that links up with the letter, but because it's Mother's Day, I'm going to let them do a fun pattern today. So I'm going to let them do a heart pattern, and I've given them instruction to choose 2 different colors. So we're going to do little red hearts and little purple hearts. They can choose whichever color they want, and they color the hearts in when they are finished. Once they've finished doing the pattern, I give the instruction for them to rule off using their ruler and their lead pencil, and then they hand in their books for marking. I try and mark their books every single day, and if I see that someone has struggled with a letter, I do the correction for them to do the following day when we do our handwriting lesson. I have an example here of the work that the children have done. We do our handwriting in our language book, and our language book is a faint and margin language book. It's A4 in size. As I said previously, the children work in lead pencil, and they also know that they have to prepare the book before a handwriting lesson starts, and we've trained them. In fact, we train them from grade 1 to put a dot in every alternate line in the book so they know which line they're going to be writing on when it comes to the handwriting lesson. When it comes to marking the book, I obviously make sure that the children have done everything that I've instructed during the course of the lesson. I make sure that they've written the date correctly and that the date is underlined, and then I tick it. I make sure that Friday is written correctly and the F is crossed, and I tick it. I make sure that the row of capital H's is done and that the formation is correct, and then I mark it. I make sure that the row of lowercase h's is done and the formation is correct, and I mark that. I make sure that the row of capital and lowercase together are correct, and then I check their sentence, and if there are any corrections with any letters that I have to do, I correct those letters. I then date it and initial it, and I put a stamp for positive reinforcement. And if I'm using it as an assessment, then I will put an assessment mark in here as well. If the child needs to do a correction, I will do the correction for them underneath in red pen.